Hello, and welcome to the National Inventor Club. We are in November 2022, and I'm just getting over COVID, so please bear with me tonight. You might see a sip of water or a cough drop going in, but do the best I can. The show must go on, right? I have a great lineup tonight. I have our guest speaker, Stewart Barnett. He's from Odash, and he is a guru in getting products to market in retail, and he's going to share his words of wisdom with you. It's going to be fantastic. And a couple quick announcements. If you're not a premium member, please join. You're more than welcome to be a free member of National Inventor Club. I've been seeing the National Inventor Club t-shirts. People who are wearing them are sending me their pictures. It's always fun to see them, and they land on the front of National Inventor Club website. Please support the club. You're okay to be a free member. Appreciate all the support for making this happen every single month. There's a lot of exciting things that are coming for 2023 for National Inventor Club that I'm excited to announce. So we'll definitely keep in touch, and please continue to join us monthly. And during the month, you can go on the nationalinventorclub.com website to get resources and free information there as well to keep you moving forward with your ideas. Another quick announcement. Wanted to talk to you about the Pitch Your Invention mini series that I am honored to be hosting. It's really interesting. There are a lot of people that already signed up. So basically, if you have a prototype or a product and you are looking to get some good exposure for your invention, then what we're doing is we're going to have about a 2.5 minute pitch that you're going to be able to present your prototype or your finished product. And no competition, no contest, nothing like that. Just a chance for you to pitch your invention. We're going to have about 8 inventors on each episode. So this is Got Invention Shows Pitch Your Invention mini-series. You can easily go to pitchyourinvention.com. Maybe do it after this meeting tonight, and you can fill out a simple form here. The interviews that we're going to do, this mini-series and the episodes, they, after they're done, they go on some social media and online YouTube, but they're also going to go on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google and Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Roku TV, YouTube TV, Amazon Fire, a lot of great stuff. And we're actually working on Apple TV now. So if this is the last call, we've been casting for a couple months and I've been under the weather a little bit, so I kind of delayed, but I'm working with the producers. If you do have a prototype or a finished product, and it's a good idea to have some protection, whether it's a provisional patent application or a fully issued patent. You're at your own risk if you're not, but definitely cast and submit your invention on here. Hopefully you'll be picked, and we'll give you a chance to pitch your invention. So wanted to share that with you also. Let me just remove this from the screen. And there we are again. All right, so some quick announcements. That was it. Now we have, let's have Charlene Walters. She has been on our meetings several times, and she has a book that I love. It's called Launch Your Inner Entrepreneur. And I'm not the only one that loves it. She has been asked by popular demand. People are asking me to have her on because every time she's on, she gives some very interesting tips and advice and resources for entrepreneurs, inventors, innovators. Charlene, thank you so much for joining us again. And what's your tip of the day?
Thanks so much for having me on, Brian. It's always a pleasure. So I think I spoke about something similar last week, but wanted to hit it again because the holidays are upon us. And with the holidays, being an inventor, being an entrepreneur, we're already overwhelmed, but then we have this extra additional stress. So I really wanted to talk about what you can do if you feel overwhelmed or when life gets out of control, how we can streamline and simplify things. So I'm giving you a few tips in that regard. So the first one is just to set clear goals. What do you need to get done between now and the end of the year? What do you need to do to set yourself up for next year? The second thing is really to establish boundaries. We can really just overcommit, overschedule ourselves, working on our business, doing other things. Really set those clear boundaries in terms of the hours that you're going to devote to work and to other things. And then I know, particularly during this time of the year, I feel like there's a lot to get done in a short amount of time. So I like to really plan and work ahead, which goes without saying, but do that as much as you can. So if there something comes up, something unexpected with your business, or someone gets sick, we get COVID, like poor Brian here, we already have the bulk of our work kind of done ahead of time as much as we possibly can. So we're sort of ahead of schedule and we can kind of pivot with these challenges. Another thing we can do is identify distractions in our everyday. We are sometimes, if you're anything like me, you can get easily distracted. So I know for me, my biggest distraction is my phone. So I really want to crank things out. I can put that phone across the room or just do what I can to streamline. Sometimes it's turning off the email for a while and setting certain times to really check it. And then I think we all need to really be kind to ourselves. It's really not always about hours worked, but about what we're getting done. So really think about it every day in terms of the 5 or 6 things or 4 or 5 major things that you want to have done. And if you get them done in 5 hours, good for you. It's not always about having to work 10, 12 hours every day. It's really about the productivity. And just be really flexible too. Like, we've been ingrained since we were our first entry level job to think that we had to work 9 to 5. And if we didn't do that, we were somehow slacking off. Be flexible. If you need to work in the evening one day to accommodate other activities, that's fine. As long as you're getting it done, it all works out in the end. And something else that I like to tell people or encourage is to really work according to your new mood. There are some days when I feel like writing and doing heavy projects and other days where I just don't. So I sort of flex what I have to do within reason according to that mood. So if I'm feeling a little bit burnt out from writing or working on projects, then I take a few minutes, I catch up on other lighthearted things. Maybe it's social media related. Maybe it's something else entirely. Maybe I'm kind of checking in on my spreadsheets, doing something else that I'm more in the mood to do. And that's really a good thing. Lean into your mood. Finally, just know when to say no. You can't do everything. Pick and choose, prioritize, and do what you can to simplify your life and get ahead of things before the end of the year.
Thank you, Charlene. You know what? That's for being the entrepreneur, but also everyday life, right?
Yes.
You got to just take a break sometimes
You
and
do. You
relax.
absolutely do.
I was told to take a break tonight, but I'm not taking a break. Don't tell anyone, though.
The show must go on. I agree, Brian. You can do it.
Charlene, you have a stack of books behind you,
Yes.
or you have one in front that you could show us your book and where we can buy it.
Yes, this is called Launch Your Inner Entrepreneur. And it's about mindset, entrepreneurial mindset. It's specifically for women, but if you're a man, you can also read the book too. You'll find some interesting commonalities between men and women, but it's really about making those changes in the way that you think to be successful as an inventor, as an entrepreneur, being your own boss.
Thank you. And where can we buy the book, Charlene?
You can buy it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere books are sold, Walmart. You can look on my website. I have links to everywhere you can buy it.
And your website?
Is ownyourother.com or charlenewalters.com.
Charlene, we had a great interview together, kind of pitching our books and what it's about inside, and that was fun.
It
I
was
just
a lot of
recently
fun.
posted. I recently posted that. I know you have too. So thank you as always for the support of National Inventor Club. To the entrepreneurs out there getting and gaining knowledge from your information, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate you, and good luck to everyone over the holiday season.
Thank you. Thanks. All right, let's have Elizabeth Doherty from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, Innovation Outreach Eastern Division. Elizabeth, always a pleasure to have you on and providing great information, resources, and things that inventors, entrepreneurs, innovators, whatever we want to call ourselves, we don't even know sometimes that this information is existing. And that's why we have you on, to get the word out, to keep it fresh, and let people know what resources are available for them to keep their ideas moving forward.
Well, Brian, it's always a pleasure to be here with you and your audience, and especially tonight. It is so fortuitous that we are meeting this evening and that I was preceded by Charlene, who is an advocate, just as you are, Brian, for entrepreneurs and innovators, particularly for women. Because it was today that the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, in collaboration with the Department of Commerce, announced a new initiative. Our new initiative is called WE for Women's Entrepreneurship, and we are focusing on unleashing the potential of women entrepreneurs because it is good for business, good for families, and good for our economy. Sadly, women only hold ownership stake in about 37% of U.S. businesses and only have a majority share in about 21% of businesses. So we are going to work to build across the private sector and government ways to inspire and support startups and aspiring women entrepreneurs, connecting them with each other, providing them with support, and with sources for funding. So how are we going to do that? Well, first and foremost, I would want to encourage people to visit our new online hub that's at the uspto.gov website. You can find it from our homepage right now because, again, it was just announced today. There was, in fact, a live, in-person, and virtual hybrid event where our director, Kathy Vidal, presented a number of women experts and innovators, entrepreneurs to kick us off today. But you can find our hub online, and at that hub, which you can find again in a drill down of our webpage, you're going to find information about protecting your business, funding your startup, expanding your network. And then, of course, as always, we want to provide inspiration. So we have a lot of great stories for individuals who have done it successfully, navigating the IP process, journeys of innovation, women who have in fact funded their startup. We do also have information about the upcoming Women's Entrepreneurship Symposium, an annual event that we hold each March. And we already have advertisements available for with respect to our upcoming Women's Entrepreneurship Symposium, which will be taking place March 1st, March 15th, and March 29th. As part of this WE initiative, we are going to be holding WE Wednesdays. Now, we haven't yet determined the entire cadence of those WE Wednesdays. It probably won't be every Wednesday, but a number of Wednesdays throughout the upcoming year and months coming forward, we're going to have some really delightful conversations with people working across the invention and innovation entrepreneurship ecosystem, providing a great deal of resources and information. So I'm super excited to highlight this new initiative. It's something we can all get behind. It's something where we can all participate. And I hope that it's going to bring real value to you and your members, Brian.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. The website again for the women to sign up?
So if they were to go to our website, which is www.uspto.gov, they can find the WE page just by going to /initiatives/WE. You can also find it from our homepage because we have placed an announcement on our homepage, and you can also use the search box as always to find each and every resource and bit of information.
We appreciate everything you do for the inventor community, Elizabeth. And for those of you who have not gone on to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office website, you should. It's uspto.gov.
It's rich with information.
Absolutely. uspto.gov. And there's actually an inventor resource area on there filled
Indeed.
with great information, really simple to understand, good navigation. I personally have 13 issued patents. I have 2 more that I got notice of allowance of this week and last week. Sorry, this week and last week.
Thanks for being a frequent flyer, Brian.
Yeah. I've been calling, asking for support because I like to do some of the things myself and learn. And your support team, like, they answer the phone right away. They're very knowledgeable, helpful, friendly. I do have patent attorneys and agents that I work with, but your team there is great. I mean, they're able to help me navigate.
That. Our Inventors Assistance Center is open 8:30 to 8, Monday through Friday, and they are individuals who have 30, 40 years of experience in the field. Most of them are retired individuals, retired from the USPTO, who have come back to still give back to the community. They love to take your calls. They love to take your emails. I'm so glad to see you're using their resources and helping us promote them as well.
Thank you very much. Elizabeth, thank you again for joining us. And inventors out there, women inventors, definitely sign up for this opportunity.
Please.
So thank you again.
Join us together. And Brian, it's always a pleasure to be with you and your audience. I hope you feel better. Thank goodness for technology and intellectual property. It's helping to cure the pandemic and helping to move us forward. So
Absolutely.
thank you again, Brian, and best of luck to you and your audience.
Thank you. We'll see you soon. Thanks. All right. Let's have Stewart Barnett. He is from Odash, and he is our guest speaker tonight. Let me just tell you something about Stewart. I've gotten a chance to know him over the years, and if you need to know anything about getting into retail, this man knows it. He has 40 plus years of retail experience. He's going to tell you about himself. But look, we are at a point where we're either thinking about our idea, we're working on it, we have a prototype, maybe we have a finished product. But even if we're at the idea stage of having the idea in our head and we want to be an entrepreneur, we want to start manufacturing our product and selling it out there to retailers, isn't it a good idea to know about it before you start working on it and investing your time, money, energy, and effort? Well, Stuart's going to help us to give us some perspective on what we're in for with our big ideas. So Stuart, thank you for joining us. You're a Long Island native also, like myself. Happy to have lunch and dinner with you many times. And I'm really excited about the information that you're going to share with the inventors and entrepreneurs and startups and everybody out there. So thank you, Stu.
Okay. Thank you, Brian, for inviting me to the show tonight. I'm very excited to be here and to meet everybody virtually. And if we ever get a chance to do something in person, I'll definitely be there.
Excellent.
A little bit about myself. I actually started out in school and graduated, passed my CPA exam, and was a certified public accountant for many years. Eventually went to one of my clients, which happens to be in the bicycle industry. Got a lot of experience there, which we'll go through in a little while. About 30 years later, the company was sold, and I started some other businesses. I actually co-founded allbobbleheads.com. Just show you a little bit of what that looks like. You know, that company was built on finding a niche. Not that we invented what a bobblehead was. A bobblehead's been around for years, but we figured out that in bobbleheads, nobody was really doing what they call custom bobbleheads. And in 2008, we built the website and started to sell bobbleheads online. It happened to have caught on. We sold hundreds and hundreds of thousands of bobbleheads during that time period. I'll just give you an idea what they look like. This happened to have been one of my employees of my company. Here's one. Just happened to bring one along to show you. And actually, even though this was not something that I invented, but we turned the bobbleheads into custom. So this head was actually, made in our factories in China. That business gave me a lot of background in China and working with them. Also, previously, when I was in the bicycle industry, spent probably over 200 trips in China. So I certainly can help anyone and talk about manufacturing and how it is to be in mainland China and to do business. The company that we started with the bobbleheads, we pivoted into and added a consumer products division. And that enabled us to source products and buy products as a distributor and to sell to almost every major retailer in the United States. I've been doing that since 2008. So that gives us about 13 years or so, or 13, 14 years of selling product into the major retailers of consumer products, which I want to go into a little more depth with you guys. So that's my quick background. That company's called Odash is one, and I'm still there. I'm still actually working there every single day. I hate to say it, 7 days a week, and I enjoy every minute of it. Brian, maybe you want to put up on the screen. I can show a little bit. I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah. So Stu has started off with in the bike business and retail and working on all bobbleheads, and just built up a portfolio of so many different SKUs. And SKUs are the items that you sell in many categories, and just working and focusing on just building it and making sure that his margins and everything and operations, he's got a really tight ship. It was hard to get Stu on our meeting. I tried a couple months and we finally got him on. And this is a busy season. This is right after all the cyber events and everything else going on, because he does sell a lot online. So we appreciate having you on here, Stu. And let's get the presentation up and let's talk about getting our products and our idea. Well, an idea is just an idea, right? We need something to actually show and sell. So you're going to help us with that. Let's go through this. So you gave us some information about yourself, and now let's go ahead and talk about retail.
Yeah, just to give you some numbers, and I know these numbers are rather large, but we're in a great spot today. Retail in 2021 is top $6.6 trillion. It's growing. As you can see, there was a 18% growth from 20 to 21. We're also experiencing additional growth for 2022. Even the pandemic, as much as everybody's still getting sick, like Brian and people in my family and whatever, including myself, we're coming out of it. There's a great opportunity now because people haven't been shopping, for years, and they can't wait to get out and, buy something. And also for the inventors out there, it's a great time for you people also, because retailers, how do they find product? They go to trade shows, they go to events, which we'll go through in a couple of minutes, but they're starving for product. They haven't seen new products for years. They're looking for you guys. So it's a great opportunity for you to get out there and to network with people. And every time I show a new product, Brian will show me new products. We work together on a lot of different projects together. Many of the products he showed me, we've actually, got placement in retail stores. So when we show them a new product, they're so happy because they can't keep on selling the same old product, for the last 3 years. So again, it's really a great time for you.
Well, you know what, Stuart, there's a lot of people out there that have a finished product and they might have one product. So we know that it's not the easiest with one SKU to get in retail, but it is possible. And you're going to show us how. But there's also people out there with brands of product, and we want to be discovered. We want to know. So hopefully this presentation, I'm sure people are going to get something out of it tonight. This is going to be great.
Okay. So just to next screen, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Can you go to the next screen? I just put a quick list together so you can understand who the top retailers are in the United States. And we can go through some of them. And again, there's many different categories of products. So not every product is going to go into every one of these stores. If you're working on personal care, it might not go into a sporting goods store or a clothing store. So you have to figure out what stores and what platforms you would like to see your products in, of course. So the top 10 in the United States as of 2021, number one, of course, was Walmart. And Walmart has grown over the years. Just 10 years ago, they didn't even have a website. Once they started the website, they became even larger because they happen to be a marketplace. What does that mean? It means that people can put their products on their website and establish a retail, and Walmart will pick you up. And I'll explain to you how you do it. But you could be on Walmart if it's only your product, because most of your products are exclusive to yourself. You know, you don't have really any competition. And on these marketplaces, you can have your products on there and, you know, create business with Walmart. And I'll go over that later, how you actually can get on one of these websites. Amazon, of course, we all know, they completely disrupted the marketplace, you know, many, many years ago. And because of Amazon, they really changed the entire industry on how items are delivered, how quick they're delivered, their depth of product. They've done a fantastic job on privacy and making sure that the products are real. That's been very difficult for them because there's so many, you know, not legitimate products on the website. So they've really spent a lot of money and a lot of time to help. But, you know, Amazon is also, as much as they're strong, they also have weaknesses working with Amazon, because as much as you can sell a lot, if you're not keeping up with their what they call KPs, that's a metric. If you're not able to deliver product in the time that they want you to, if you have too many returns and too many defects, they can basically take you down.
And when you said marketplace, Stu,
Yeah.
you were talking about .com or online, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, Walmart has physical stores, and their marketplace is just a another vehicle for them to sell goods. And goods that are in Walmart don't necessarily mean it's the same goods that are in the store. So if you have an invention, a product that you want to get into Walmart, you have to decide, do you want to just go in the store? Do you want to just go on the website, or do you want to do both? I find that it's much easier to start selling on the internet, because if it's doing well on the internet, they'll find you and they'll want to test you out into the retail. And you can get into the Walmart website you can onboard yourself onto that website much quicker than in store. In store might take you a year, might take you 2 years, but to get onboarded on a website, it could take you 30 days, 60, 90 days, but maybe I've seen 6 months in cases, but for the most part, you could get online with Walmart, you know, 30 to 60 days.
I actually spoke to a potential guest for an upcoming National Inventor Club meeting where they're going to be speaking to our members from Walmart.com. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully next month or in January.
That's very, very good. The one issue with Walmart, I just might as well bring it up because there's another thing you should know about. That once you put your products on that marketplace, well, actually, if your products are exclusive, you won't have that issue. They have what's called a buy box. And what that means is you own that page. But if somebody somehow gets a hold of your product and they go in there and they try to undercut you, meaning the selling price, then your listing will be removed and their listing will stay on. So you have to really be very careful to watch the website. Now, of course, there's many people that sell thousands of items on Walmart and all these websites. So many of these people own software that can manage the products and what the prices are, so that you can manage to make sure that you stay on the website. So it's sometimes rather complicated. On Amazon, same issue. You can get listed, and other people can also be listed as well. So there you have to really monitor it. If somebody tries to put your product on Amazon, then you have to report it. So you have to really police these websites very, very carefully. Moving on down to like a Costco wholesale, great company, tremendous sales. With that particular retailer, they basically take anything back. So you have to be very careful with returns. And when you price your products out, and we'll go through that later in a little while, you have to include a margin for returns. So if you know they're going to return 20% of what you sell them, then your prices have to be 20% higher to absorb the returns. Again, Costco doesn't work on a normal margin. They work on a very low margin. They make their money off of selling membership. So with the membership and the low margin, it's a great opportunity for the consumer to buy there. But as the persons as the manufacturer that's selling to them, if they're not aware of the returns, they're not going to make any money. They're going to be very sorry.
That's great information, Stu.
Yeah. So, and I mean, many of the clubs are like that.
So these are the top 10 of the top 100 retailers. I know the other slides, you put them out there.
Sure.
There's, I think Daryl was asking,
Yep.
how many of these have actually are still in business from 2021 even? Just curious.
Well, the top 10 is all here, and that's a great question. And that when I go through the state of the industry, yeah, there's tremendous bankruptcies. I face it every day in my business as well. My business, Odash, we're an importer and a distributor, and many of our clients, we've had many bankruptcies this year. One way to avoid that risk and to mitigate it, we happen to buy credit insurance on all of our customers. I don't know if you guys even know what that means, so I'll just mention it to you because it's a good thing to learn. They will insure your receivables if somebody goes out of business. And they don't necessarily have to go out of business. They can just simply not pay you. And if they don't pay you, you can make a claim with the insurance company. There's a slight deductible, but for the most part, if you have $100,000 of credit with a particular retailer and they don't pay you or they go out of business, you'll get the majority of your money back. So that's a great thing to know. There is a premium, just like any insurance, like car insurance or home insurance. You buy what's called credit insurance. So right. Go ahead,
a lot of us are just getting started, and we know that there's product liability insurance, but when you start getting into retailers and you're sending inventory, you want to be able to protect yourself. And Stu, we just had an issue with a major catalog company that filed bankruptcy, and we had inventory there. So I mean, it's good to know these things. Not to get too deep right this second with everybody, because a lot of us are just looking to get started, learn about retail. We appreciate the landscape that you're giving us, but now it's how do we get into retail and how do we know that it's a good product for retail?
Okay. All right. Why don't you go to the next screen? We'll just quickly, next 10 of you guys can all look at the screen. You see a lot of the dollar type stores there. Best Buy, TJX is an amazing company. You actually see a lot of supermarkets. Just so you know, a lot of supermarkets now just don't sell food. They sell every product. So 10 years ago, we never even think about selling, other products. Just this year alone, I mean, I sell a lot of toys for Christmas time, and we sold to some of the largest supermarket chains in the country this year. Whereas 5 years ago, we didn't even knock on their door. You can go on to the next screen. That's another 20, 30 more 30 more retailers.
Wow.
Macy's is on there. Look at Macy's is doing this year, guys. They put Toys R Us in every single one of their retail stores. And we're already seeing huge business out of Macy's. We sell to their .com. We sell toys to Toys R Us through Macy's. Great company. We see number 43, Quarte Retail Group, another retail's been around forever. They own Home Shopping Network, QVC, Zulily, and a bunch of other .coms and online television.
That's 43, right? Number 43, that's 11 billion.
They're also branching out into streaming now, because streaming is a huge media. So they're being forced to kind of change the way they do business. So when you're contacting them, you might, before trying to go into TV, you might even, look at the streaming side of the world. Next, you guys can look, give them a couple minutes.
A lot of these that are lower billions look like more of niche type of retailers.
Yep. Okay. Army Air Force, that's a great one. If if you happen to be a military person, are you in the military? The Army Air Force Exchange Services has a program for you where they take good care of you. You would get a special, they give you special consideration to put your product on their website. So you can look into that, and that's another great lead for you. I happen to sell to people that are veterans who have websites on the Army Air Force Exchange System. It's also called AFES, if you've ever heard that word before. So that's a great thing to know.
Very nice.
Okay. Number 73, Petco. Growing like you can't believe. I wouldn't be surprised. They'll be over 100 million. I'm sorry, over $1 billion. I got 4 billion, I guess. They could be over the 6 billion very soon. They're doing great. We also happen to sell to them as well. Okay. Let's talk about the retail categories. We have grocery stores. I mentioned it before. All these categories are selling products. You have to decide where you want your product to be. Do you want to be in a convenience store? Do you want to be in a big box? Some people really just want to deal in specialty stores. You know, the mom and pop that might be, you know, in your town. Those are great stores, by the way, and a lot of those stores have many stores. You know, even like hardware stores. Take Ace Hardware; they have franchises. A lot of them are in your towns, and they may own 3 or 4 Ace Hardware stores. You have off-price retailers, so you may not want your product in an off-price, or you know, maybe you do. But you have to decide where you're going to go, and each one of these categories, the buyers are very different. They have very different requirements and very different things that they need. That they'll need from you, and we'll go through that in a couple of minutes.
And some of them require a high volume of inventory. Some are singles sometimes, and there's margins which they need to meet, which you need to know also where it's going to go, and do you have enough margin to meet the slim margins of a big box retailer versus a specialty store where, like I had a product. One of my snack containers, it sold for $2.97 at Walmart and $4.99 at supermarkets, the same product.
It makes it difficult sometimes too, because you know, they'll be in the store with their phone and they'll be checking, you know, so you have to be careful of that too. Okay. And then other retail, of course, we have direct to consumer, so you don't have to sell to a retail store. We see more startups happening today with direct to consumer. What's great about direct to the consumer? Because now you are touching, feeling that consumer firsthand. You're not going through a retailer who then goes through that consumer, and you can, you know, you can talk to the consumer. You can, you know, contact them. You can have other websites that you can relate to them back and forth. They can be emailing you. You can have blogs. You'll have websites. So it's a great way to get started. Also, there's also,
No, I was going to say, Stu, because I have a bunch of products that I've had a chance to invent and bring to market, and my big launching opportunity was with QVC.
Yeah,
you have to be manufacturing your product, which I was thinking about licensing, and then I ended up having the opportunity of meeting a QVC buyer at a trade show. And then I just started manufacturing products and working with QVC for many years. And, you know, catalogs also are really good. If you aren't ready to do major volume and you have some inventory, I mean, you have to be prepared if it sells well to be able to have the inventory. But even the catalogs would do great volume, and they're great to start off with because they'll work with you.
Well, one great thing about a catalog is they might give you a nice opening order, whereas when you're doing the website, you're selling one at a time. But a catalog might like your product, and they'll stock, and they'll also do their own fulfillment. So that's a great way to get started. But one thing that Brian did say, which is really good, is that you got to plan. You got to have inventory, because if you put something in a catalog or even a retailer and they need a reorder and you don't have a backup, you'll never do business with them again. So you have to plan, and you can communicate with them. You can talk to them. You can talk to their planners and get an idea of how are things going. What do they anticipate? The best way to manage that business is to communicate with them.
Stu, there's some great questions coming in, and many of the questions that are being asked, we're going to answer. So please just be patient. I'm not ignoring your questions. They're great ones. But I know it's in Stu's slideshow, so we're going to get to it.
We'll get to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep on rolling, man.
Yeah. One other thing you didn't put on here was your own website, right? Because that's also another form of retail,
100%.
right?
Yep.
And there's a lot of people that do very well on their own independent retail site, just social media, everything else driving it on. But this is a way to get out there, to get exposure, and it's another form and another channel, which you'll explain also a little later.
Yeah, and the retailers want to see that you have a website. That's important. I'm not sure they necessarily want to compete with you, but they want the consumer to go to your site and get information and see more detailed specifications of what you're actually selling.
Stu, there's a lot of inventors out there that they have the idea in their head, they get it to a point where they have a prototype. And I had an experience with this, but I want to get your take on it, because I know there's a lot of people out there that have an amazing prototype working or close enough. Is that a good time to go to a buyer and pitch your invention to possibly get a purchase order and then know that that's the way that you're going to be going into production? Does that work out?
To be honest with you, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. It depends, really just depends upon the buyer. Sometimes you meet a buyer, you'll hit it off with them really well, and they'll help you. And, a prototype is good, but I really do think they want to see the finished product, or maybe a pre-production product. They're also afraid that if you show them a product and it's too in the beginning stages, that you won't be able to deliver. I'll give you an example. Today, I spoke to a manufacturer as a new product. And he told me 3 months ago he was going to have the product ready. And now I'm trying to get forms filled out. Guess what? They're delayed another 3 months. So if I would have sold that product and told the cataloger to put it in the catalog, we would not have been able to deliver. So we have to be careful about that. So if we're going to show a product to a retailer, we better make sure that we can deliver. But I think it works both ways. Some people are very flexible and, some aren't.
Yeah. And it also depends on the buyer, but you need to be prepared. It's like, here, you want this? I'm sorry, you can't have it because I'm not ready. You know what I mean? So you want to also, you have that shot. You want to be able to give it your best shot, be prepared. So if we do have that prototype, and we want to, or maybe it's a pre-production sample. We know we're going to do the tooling, the molding, and whatever, and we have that pre-production sample. That's worked for me, Stu. I was in front of a buyer, and I had multiple products that I was looking to get on, and I was like, "This one's not ready yet," and it was my pull ties invention. This one's not ready yet, but here it is. And they go, "We want this one." I'm like, "What?" I'm not ready. I wasn't ready to start manufacturing, but that ended up being one of my really big winners. And it was from a pre-production sample. So you never know, but you need to be prepared that if you do get the interest, that you don't burn your bridge that one time because you caught their interest. That could be the one. Right.
No, those kind of people really help you out, and they give you the confidence to go on. And that happens every day,
so
every single day.
Speaking of what makes a good product, here's your slide. So I'm curious on your take on what a good product is, because a lot of us come up with this idea. We have this unbelievable, exciting feeling in our gut, and we think it's the one. It's going to change our life. We're going to become gazillionaires from it. And then buyers see it and they pass. Or we get a good deal on it and we get a purchase order. But what's your take on what makes a good product, Stu?
Okay. Well, I think there's many different things, many things. So the first thing I was talking about on the slide, solving problems. I mean, and I'm sure you guys heard of that 1,000 times. but find a problem in this world that a lot of people have and solve it. Remember when all these those massages came out, those guns? Everybody, of course now there's billions of them. Hopefully you don't have them anymore because the prices have really come down on them. But that solved the big problem. People had muscle pain, and it really helped them out. They have to be fun. Product has to be exciting and fun. And for you guys, you want to find a product that could be sold to the masses of people. You know what? I wrote something down. Give me 1 minute. Just a hold on. It's a really good fact. Just give me 1 minute.
Well,
this is good. Not that. And you know what? How many iPhones do you think are sold in a year in the United States? And you talk about selling to the masses. So let me give you the answer. In last year, 2.2 billion iPhones were sold in the United States. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to invent a product that you're going to sell 2 billion of. But the point is that they're capable of selling to the masses of people. So it's, everybody gets up in the morning and they do the same thing. But Apple gets up in the morning and sells 2 billion pieces. The same person that gets up and sells one piece. So the same motion, you almost can, you want to sell one, you sell 2 billion. So try to find something that can create masses of people and demand of a product. Make sense?
Absolutely. One thing that you didn't put on here that I'm just curious about, maybe it is to a point, but there's a lot of people that come up with something so specific and niche. It could be a good product for that niche, but do you consider that a good product if it's just specific for one purpose and a lot of competition?
Well, I guess it really depends on what your targeted revenue is, because if it's going to be a niche product, you might not sell as much as selling to the masses. But then again, a niche product can give you more profit because you're going to sell it to a limited number of people. So you might be able to make as much profit with limited people than less profit when you're selling to many more people. So we really have to sit down and, work the numbers out. What's our cost? Again, if you're limited to your production, your cost of goods sold might be a little more, which means you might make less profit. Although if you're capable of getting a higher price, you can make that up. Make that money. We can make it up basically. So again, it's products, profit, cost of goods sold. It's a very flexible environment, and you have to be flexible in this business. You can't be so hard that you won't go off the line, and because if you do that, you might not be too happy in the long run. So
well, these are very good points. These are very good points on what makes a good product. We have a bunch of other slides, and we're going to go past the hour, which is fine.
Oh, God.
I would stick around. If there's people that are the audience, if you're watching or listening, definitely stick around. Like Stu is going to give us formulas on when you're selling to a retailer, making profit margin yourself. So I don't have anywhere to go tonight. Everybody's on. There's some great information.
We could jump on that right now because I want people to know about that. So I want you guys, when you think about what your profit is, people talk about what's your margin. What's a margin? Well, a margin means sales, your revenue, less your cost of goods equals profit. And profit divided by your sales is called a margin. So if something costs you, say, $100, right? Mm-hmm. And someone says to you, "Oh, I want to make 50%." Well, a lot of people take that $100 and they say, "Oh, 50%." They say, "Oh, 100 times 50%, or 1.5, 100 times 1.5, that equals 150. Hey, I'm making 50%, right?" Okay. So if it costs you 100 and you sell it for 150, selling price was 150, cost was 100. 150 minus 100 equals 50, right? And gross margin is 50 divided by 150. Wait a second. 150 divided by 150, that's 33.3%. I thought I was making 50%. So people make a lot of mistakes. What happened was they did what was called a markup. They took the $100 and they marked it up 50%. They didn't do a margin. So to make 50%, if something cost you $100, you'd have to sell it for $200. $200 minus 100 equals $100. I just made $100. Well, before I only made $50. That $100 that you made was on a sale of 200, correct? 100 divided by 200, there's your 50%.
You know,
So
I think a lot of people are going to have to play back this recording because that Stu is gold. Is it on one of the slides? I don't remember because we had a few.
We didn't put it on the slide, but I can just explain it one more time. Just everyone, I'll do a different.
Everybody,
number.
listen. This is really important because there's a lot of people out there that go, Brian, I made a product and it cost me $5, and at the end of the day, I'm getting I'm making $1 per unit. What's going to happen to those people, right? So listen to Stu.
So let's take another number. Let's say let's say I want to make 60%. Forget about 50%. We should make more money. So if something costs you $50 to make $60, to make 60%, you would take the $50 and divide it by the inverse of 60, which would be 0.40, right? 1 minus 60% is 40.40. So if you take something costs you $50 and you want to make 60 points, it's 50 divided by 0.4, and that would be $125, right? So 125, write that down, minus your cost of 50, you just made $75. If you take 75 divided by the 125, which was the selling price, that's 60%. That's how you calculate margin. So be very careful. Don't say it costs $50 and take 50 and mark it up times 1.6. 50 times 1.6, which would be a markup of 60%. Guess what? That would only be $80, not $125. So you would lose $45 on every single sale. So be very careful between margin and markup. It's very, very important. So and most people, like new people that I hire, they always do it wrong every single time. So anyway, I thought that was an important thing to teach you guys.
It's very important. Now we're dealing with catalogs, we're dealing with buyers, and they tell us their points of what they need.
Yes.
So it's not a secret because you're going to see at the end of the day what they're selling your product for. But they need a specific margin and points to be able to know that that's going to make what they want to sell it for.
Correct. Well,
and on top of that, you may have a broker, a rep, a manufacturer's rep that will also bring your product, and that's what you and I both do. Also,
you might have distributors, so you have to have a distributor margin. So the first thing you really got to do to price out a product is you got to decide what's the right retail, and you guys, you'll know because you have been to every single store looking at the retail environment, what similar products are selling for. Now, of course, if you have special technology that no one else has, then nobody really knows. So you can mark it up as much as you want. Remember, very important thing. My suggestion is to always go higher because you can always lower a price. But if you go lower, it's very, very hard to raise a price. Somebody taught me that 25 years ago, and it's really true.
Yeah.
So, if you think something should be $100, start at $150. And you know what? If you can't get the $150, you'll lower it to $125, and you'll eventually find, what the right price is. But then when you're looking at this retail, you got to work it backwards. Okay, here's the retail price I think you could sell for. Okay, what does this retailer need to earn? Like Brian said, the catalog business, they may want to make 70%. Maybe a TV guy may want to make 50%. Maybe, a guy on a website, because he knows you may do the fulfillment, he may be willing to make 40% margin. So you have to make a lot of room for all these levels.
Understood.
And
Here's a quick question, Stu.
Yep.
I'm going to try to blend in some questions because the time, again, it doesn't matter. This is valuable information. Hopefully everybody sticks around. But here, the number I hear a lot is retailers need 40% margin, but it's more like 60% in practice. Is that true for you too?
Yes. 40%. When I was in the bike business, we gave the retailers 25%, but the cost of running a business is so expensive now that 40% is very, very hard to make enough profit to run an efficient business. And by the way, that goes to you guys too, because you have to make a profit too. Because guess what? You need employees. You have to pay Social Security taxes. You got to pay real estate taxes. There's so much cost that you need to have. You don't want to be in business for fun. You're in business to make money. So as much as you're trying to figure out the retail, because you got to make sure the retailer can make money also, because if they're not making money, they'll drop your product. So something, what's going to make you guys work and make money is what you're doing right now, inventing, production, because what the product costs you is really going to help you be successful. If you buy something too high, you're gonna have a problem.
Look, Stu, you have, I think you're up to 10,000 SKUs.
Yep.
And I'm really proud to work with you. I don't mind sharing it with the audience. You and I are working on Inventor Smart Products Group, where we're taking specific inventions. Now, Stu, you and I, before we met, I know that you work on a lot of commodity type of products and items, and you're competing. You have the margins because you're working on type margins, and you have the systems and processes in place. But how much, like, to have a new product, an invention that there's no competition, hopefully for a certain amount of time, how important is that for you and to be able to pitch buyers out there?
I think it's probably one of the most important things. The exclusivity, the fact that you own it, that nobody can get it. The fact that you can expand your product lines based on that product line. So maybe you only have one SKU today, but that one SKU maybe end up being 10 SKUs. Very important. And your exclusivity, the retailer really likes that a lot.
And
because that means they can sell it at a good price too.
But what about one product, Stu? Is it different for the not if we're putting it on the shelf? Right?
It makes it hard because they have to not just get a product listed, they got to list you as a supplier. They have millions of suppliers. They don't really like to have so many suppliers. That's why a lot of times going to a distributor or a broker or someone like that who's in there, representing various products could help you a lot.
Even if it's a one SKU, one product. Yeah. But what I was going to say is, let's say me as an inventor, I'm calling up and I'm trying to get my product into Walmart retail stores versus Walmart.com.
Right.
What do you think?
You mean, I'm not sure if I understand the question.
Well, I'm saying like Walmart.com, you can easily put one product on there. You can name your own price. You know what your margins are. You don't have to necessarily deal with a buyer that is expecting you to have a full brand potentially, and to set you up as a new vendor, teach you all the logistics and everything else. It's not that it's impossible. It's just difficult when you have one product to try to get into retailers. So having this offline, or I should say online retailers, it gives us a chance to really be able to introduce and prove
100%
our product out there.
Yeah, and I mentioned before, it's much easier to get online than it is into the brick and mortar. Much more difficult and much more time. It's very, very exhausting. You could take you months, a year, because give you an idea, like to sell in for to sell in for next Christmas, you got to deliver in July. You actually got to get an order now. So if you're thinking about selling stuff for fourth quarter next year, if you haven't already not done the presentation, you're into 2024 already. So it takes 2 years. So so in between, you can be selling, on the internet, on the web. Yeah.
This is good stuff, Stu. What else in the presentation do you want to go over with them?
Go back one page. I think this is about buyers. I think we, you know, let me think. I think we talked about.
Yeah, look, Stu, when we're reaching out, I think a couple slides back we talked about how to actually reach out to buyers and be able to pitch our invention. Maybe you can give us some advice on that.
Yeah, okay. How to target retailers. First of all, network. Most important thing. You know, you have LinkedIn, you have social media, trade shows. If you're going to go to a trade show, make sure you're super prepared. They're expensive. You got to travel. You got to put people up in hotels. You got to move into the trade show hall. There's also something that's really great, and it's called an ECRM.
Yeah.
What that is, you go to. We used to go to a hotel, and all the retail stores are forced to come to your room and spend 20 minutes with you. Every major retailer. So let's say we're doing home appliances. We would go to the home appliance show. Maybe it'd be in a hotel. It's expensive, but your money that you're paying in flies the buyer there, puts them up in a hotel for 3 days, and every major retail gets to see you, which is amazing. So even though it might cost $15,000 or $20,000 to get into one of these things, to go to every single trade show and see every retail or visit all the retailers, it'll cost you more than $15,000 or $20,000. So this is a great show. The last couple of years has been all online. I think they're starting to branch out again, but it's called the ECRM. You guys can look it up. Write it down.
And one of their divisions is actually Range Me, which we had on. Some inventors have had success with it, and it's a platform to be able to just take what you have, set it up one time, and be able to kind of pitch online with your presentation. The information gets sent to them. But Stu, if I have one product, which a lot of people do, I have a product, I invented it, I'm producing it, I'm selling it online, I'm on Amazon. Am I spending $15,000 at a trade show for my one product?
Well, again, it really depends on, you know, what you want to do with the item. I mean, if you're going to just do online business and you don't have to talk to a buyer, because many of these online businesses, it's just a portal. You're talking to a computer. You're not talking to a human being. You know, you probably don't need a trade show. But if you want to expand into the brick and mortar side of the world, if you want to be in that retail store, you want to be on that shelf, you kind of have to go to a trade show.
Look, for me, Stu,
you don't.
I mean, look, we didn't really talk about this, but there's sometimes I'm interested in licensing my invention, or maybe I have other inventors' products, and I go to a trade show and I'm going to companies to see if they're interested in manufacturing my product, distributing it, and I earn a royalty from it, or the inventor earns a royalty from it.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, I have a product that I'm selling, right? I manufactured it, and maybe I'm at a trade show with a small booth. There's a lot of inventors areas at trade shows that give you a chance to kind of like shared space to be able to launch your invention, or to be able to display your invention, and the buyers come through those areas. So you don't have to spend $15,000. It could be a couple grand.
Yep.
But you want to do what you can to try to get the exposure out there. And even if you're on a shoestring budget, LinkedIn is easy. Social media, sometimes easy, sometimes not. You got to really press the gas to be able to get some activity. Trade shows, like I'm going to a trade show in March, the Inspired Home Show, which used to be called the Housewares Show.
I'll be there with you.
You know, so it's like you want to be able to get your product out there more than just online. But like you said earlier, you're selling a ton of stuff online and it works. Yeah.
Well, you know, the online business is really growing. Not that in, you know, retail, they say that today, even though the online business is growing and it was, you know, gigantic, the majority of sales is still in the retail store, believe it or not, you know?
Yeah. Well, let's start to wrap this up, Stu, but there's a lot of questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Without me going through the role here, if you can start sending me your questions relevant to this conversation. I respect your opinions and information about your own products. If you want to ask Stu a question, put it in the comments and I'll read it and we can get Stu to answer some questions. Was there anything in the slide deck here that we missed or that you wanted to go over?
I'm going to look real quick.
I have it up here also on the screen.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on my computer.
What about, and you did mention this before, but when you're pricing your margins and your points.
Right. It's not just the cost of your merchandise. It's inbound freight. You got to look at freight. It may be duty. Where you're going to store your products. Is it going to be in your warehouse? Are you going to be in a public warehouse? You might want to think about international considerations. And then, subscription model, for all I know, subscription models are doing fantastic. If you can figure that out, that's a great way to get ongoing revenue stream for your products.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
And
the state of the industry, we didn't get into that, but just, I'm sure you all know about this. I down in the bottom, I talk about made in the USA, made in China. Now, many people going into other Southeast Asia countries. China with all the implications, what's going on over there. It's more and more difficult to do business with them. I see many, many people leaving China. Of course, we all know about supply chain issues. We all thought they were over. They're not over. COVID's happening all over again in China, more lockdowns. It's going to be a difficult year again. State of the industry, lack of cash flow. A lot of retailers are, starving for money. We touched upon that. We all know about inflation. Although it is getting a little better, we had some good announcements today from the Fed. Customer loyalty, very, very hard to get customers to be loyal to you. And now that they can order in store, out of store, make a phone call, if you don't coordinate all those different ways to do business, which is called the omni-channel. I'm sure people heard that name. If you don't do a good job doing that, they're going to go somewhere else. So that's another whole big issue, and that's facing the industry.
what is that, Stu? What is omni-channel?
Actually, I'll read you a real textbook definition. Omni-channel means. I wrote it down somewhere.
I thought you had it on this slide.
No, I did too, but I'll just read it to you. Omnichannel relates to a type of retail that integrates the different methods of shopping available to consumers. Example, online, in a physical store, or by a phone. So all this has got to be integrated. When you make a purchase in the store, it better come up on the web. When you're in the store and something's $10, it better be the same price on the website, because people get really pissed off if it was more money on retail and less on the internet. So as a retailer, you got to really get that dialed in. If you bought something on the internet, you should be able to return it in the store. And as a supplier, you better be able to manage returns, because retailers want to return. It's a big deal. Like if you don't take back returns, they may not do business with you. So it's all part of the omni-channel and how to do business with the retail.
So there's two sides of that, Stu.
What's that?
There's two sides of it then. There's the retailers gauging how much your product is selling for. And there's also your side with how much margin you're going to make.
100%. And you got to count in all these other expenses we spoke about before with the freight and the storage. And if it's a broker or a distributor, or what does a cost of return cost you? Some people just look at the margin, and then at the end of the year, they do a financial statement and go, Jesus, look at all these other expenses. I didn't know that. And they learn. But hopefully today, they'll know to calculate all that. Yeah.
Well, look, reading over your state of the industry, it's not the most exciting. It's a little depressing here. I mean, made in USA, made in China, that's an important kind of an comparison there. But tell us what's great. Like, a lot of us right now are listening to this presentation, and we're just launching our invention. We're trying to figure out how to get distribution.
What what's great is the retail stores, they're dying for your product. They want it. They're sick of the old stuff. You know, I went to a toy show recently. I didn't hardly see anything new. They want new things. If you have new things, even if it's one product, they'll get excited. It's a great opportunity for you today. I'm telling you.
So here we are, Stu. We don't have the experience and the doors open like you. And I know it took you 40 years of hard work and sacrifice, and I appreciate you being on with us tonight, because if you weren't with us tonight, you'd be in your warehouse with your, I think it was 6,000 plus orders in a couple hours during Cyber Monday that you got. So, or maybe it was 60,000, I'm not sure. But it's really tough for us to try to figure out what we should do first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Like, we want to be able to get product out there and get recognized and get noticed. How is a retailer going to open the door for us, Stu?
Well, you're going to network. You're going to find people that maybe know a retailer that want to introduce you. If you work hard and you're out there knocking on the doors, a door is going to open up. It just is. I know it's hard to believe, but it will happen. Maybe it's at a trade show. Maybe it's your next door neighbor that has a connection. But most important, the product has got to be right on. If it's right on, you know, even down to the packaging, you know, I can't tell you how many people make a package and they forget to put a UPC number on it, or they forget to put a hang tag so it'll hang, you know, on the wall of a retail store. All these things are important. So if you have the right product and it's priced correctly, you know, I forgot to tell you a story. So when I was in the bicycle business, we made little girls' bikes, and they were always pink. It's a great story. They're always pink. Year after year, they're pink. So one day, someone in the company said, you know, I'm sick of pink. Can't we do purple? Yeah, you know, we got to spice it up. So you know what? We made the bikes purple. You know what happened? We didn't sell any. You know why? Because pink is what sells for a little girl. So remember that. It's not what you think. It's what the consumer thinks. It's what they're going to buy. So don't worry about the guy that wanted that purple. It was like the biggest mistake. And we had to close out all the purple bikes. So I just wanted to tell you that little story.
Oh, that's interesting. So we're out there, we're knocking on doors, we're making connections, or like what we're doing, Stu, is we're giving inventors an opportunity to get their product in the market and, you know, through your connections. And that's what some of these questions are coming in. So you and I have worked and priced on some products.
Yes.
And many of them have not had enough margin to be able to make it worthwhile for the inventor and for you. So maybe you could just share an example, because there's a lot of people out there that also look for manufacturers' reps, which you kind of do. I mean, you have your own products and your own sources that you're working on commodity type items. But here we are, Stu. We're an inventor. We have a product. They're going to maybe get in touch with me to be able to communicate with you and figure out if the product is good, like we did the other night with that really smart Lazy Susan.
Oh, yeah.
So what is it that we need to figure out? So let's just walk through very quickly, and this is probably the last of what we're going to talk about tonight. So,
well, we need a cost. We need a cost, right?
Okay.
So hopefully everybody has a cost. We know what it's going to cost us, how you know, land it into your warehouse. We just work it backwards. And then, by the way, the rep or broker or whatever, maybe they make 5 or 10%. I mean, I haven't seen, maybe 15 the tops. A distributor is another story. They because they're going to stock it, they're going to fulfill it. They have a lot more expenses. But if something is going to sell, let's work it backwards. Work it backwards from the retail. So if something's going to sell $100, right? And let's say you want to give the retailer 50%, so they're going to buy it for $50, right? And let's say we got to give the rep 10%, so he's going to get $5. You're down to $45. And what do you guys want to make? Well, I would say, you know, this is a gray area because everybody has a different opinion on what they need to make. But let's just assume that you need to make, let's say your cost on this item is is $20, and you want to make 50%. So you want to sell it for $40. But based on this example, you can really get 45. So you might be able to make a little more money than you think. You just got to work with the numbers, and maybe you test it out. Maybe you put into a store that's in your neighborhood to do you a favor. Hey,
You know
could
what
buy
we found
something?
also?
Yeah.
You know what we found also, Stu, when we were doing the formulas and we were trying to work with Inventor's products, many of us don't manufacture hundreds and thousands of units. Some of us are trying to manufacture, well, we are manufacturing in the US, so the prices of the production are high.
Right.
If we're not doing volume, it's high. If we're a little naive because we're just kind of getting started and we have a factory that's willing to work with us, but they're charging us more, and now we're trying to work with you, we're trying to work with buyers, get in, like the margins are so thin that sometimes it kind of just boxes an inventor out of being able to work with.
Okay. But what'll happen is if you start thin and you know that if you can increase the production, your cost will go down, then eventually your margin will go up. And in the beginning of time, you don't really have a lot of overhead. It's not like you're sitting on a 10,000 square foot warehouse with 20 employees working there. You're kind of working on your own in the beginning. So you might be able to afford to work on a lower margin, knowing that you can get your cost down. So talk to the factories, ask them, hey, if I bought, 1,000 pieces, what's the cost? If I buy 10,000, so you'll know, what can happen if you're selling more, and I think that's a good way to start.
That's great. Stu, this has been invaluable information.
Good, thank you.
Excuse me.
I hope so.
I appreciate it very much, and I know that everybody out there does. Some final words of wisdom, Stu. There are inventors at all different stages. I'm sorry for my voice, everyone. If you're just
No problem.
If you're just catching on, getting over this COVID stuff. But the show, like I said earlier, the show must go on. There's a lot of inventors out there just starting off. We have an idea in our head. We're trying to figure out if it's something that we should manufacture. Yes, we're thinking about licensing. The purpose of this meeting tonight was about manufacturing. So what is it that you can help us with to be able to keep us moving forward with our ideas? I know that you said the retailers are chomping at the bit to get new stuff, but we're stuck. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's going back and forth. I talked to somebody today after a year. They're still going back and forth with trying to perfect their design.
Okay.
Give us some words of wisdom.
Yeah. So, in my own business, the majority of what we do is on the digital side. I chose to be in that world. We're selling and fulfilling to well over 100 to 150 retailers. So if there's any products that are ready now, and I'm not trying to, pitch myself really, but if you're looking for help, talk to Brian. We can help, get some pitches done. We know all the buyers really well. We can get the product pretty much in front of anyone of those people that we do business with, and maybe we can help, get you started. Brian and I talk a lot. We have a great relationship, and not only that, but we love this. It's in our DNA. So I think we want to help you. I would love to do nothing but to make many of you successful, if we can, if you're looking for it. So definitely email and speak with Brian. Brian and I can get together and figure out, what makes sense and help. What do you think, Brian?
I got this dedicated time for you that once in a while I get. You are a busy man. If, like I said earlier, if you weren't working with us tonight, you'd be helping you guys in the warehouse right now, getting out the orders. But you are very, very much appreciated for this amazing information. I don't know if you were reading some of the comments that came in, but people are really appreciating.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Stuart. You got a heart. Somebody loves you out there. Thanks for your time.
Build the factory in the United States, by the way. I'd say build everything here. I'm sick of importing.
Well, Well, we just have to find the right factories to get us the pricing we need
Well,
to be able to not squeeze us out.
yeah. Well, Brian, let's get together again. It looks like you have a great bunch of people, and let's start something special. That we could figure out how to get products made quickly and sold,
Yep.
and expand on that. We're all product people. We love products. I mean, I love nothing but going into a store and looking. I mean, I get lost in stores. My wife will say, "Where are you?" I get a text like, "Where'd you go?" "I'll be back. I'll be there soon," I say. So, yeah, let's do it again. I'm more than happy to meet up.
Definitely. And maybe the next time we'll do even a more advanced one. We touched on a lot of subjects here and a lot of things that people have been thinking about, some that are just getting started and thinking about what it takes to get into retail, and some we have products that we're trying to get into retail right now. So we really appreciate your words of wisdom tonight, Stu.
My
Great
pleasure.
information. I have your presentation. I think the slides with the top 100 retailers are really interesting. I think for those who are listening, if you want to go back and listen to the formulas of how to price your product, that is so important. You said, Stu, people they start working for you and they screw it up immediately.
They think they're making more money, but they made a mistake. I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Again, once you have a business, I mean, you'll have software that will do it for you, and you can look at your margins. I mean, we didn't even get into that yet. I mean, there's so much to talk to you guys.
Oh, it's awesome.
Between, financials and IT and integration with these people. And you know what? We have integration done. We have internet lines with, all these retailers. So, that's another thing about the world. We're in technology today. It's so much easier. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate
Excellent.
it, everybody.
Thank you so much, Stu.
My
Really
pleasure.
appreciate you being on our meeting tonight. Just
Thank
hang tight for a minute. I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody and then we'll chat, okay?
Okay.
All right. Another great meeting. I hope you felt the same way. It looks like you did from all the comments. Stewart Barnett is really got some great information. So if you missed anything, you could go back on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, on nationalinventorclub.com. Some of you were asking about membership. Please support National Inventor Club. I have a lot of people that are making this possible every month. Appreciate your support. It's $129 for the year. If you're a free member, I'm okay with that too. The most important thing is to get this information out to you, get the right information. And I think my voice is over for tonight. So thank you, everybody. Keep making your dreams happen, bringing your products out to market. Hopefully we'll see it. If there's anything that I can help with, I have a strong connection with Stu. We're working on Inventor Smart Products Group to be able to get products under this basket umbrella of this new brand, Inventor Smart. So keep on doing what you're doing, and we'll catch up with you soon. Have a great night. Thank you from National Inventor Club. And my voice is gone. Bye-bye.